Business Book Summaries.
Matthew Dicks, Storyworthy, engage, teach, persuade, and change your life through the power of storytelling. Let's start with a short story. Once upon a time in a quaint town, there lived a young woman named Lily. She had a knack for storytelling and a passion for connecting with people. Lily decided to attend a local storytelling event, eager to share a tale that resonated with authenticity. As Lily took the stage, she remembered the key elements she had learned about mastering storytelling. She crafted her narrative with a meaningful element of change, choosing a moment in her life when a simple act transformed her perspective. Lily vividly described the emotions, sights, and sounds using the present tense, pulling her audience into the essence of the story. Avoiding unnecessary flourishes, Lily carefully selected her words. However, as she delved into her narrative, she felt the urge to reference a celebrity to paint a clearer picture. Recalling the advice she had received, she resisted the temptation, choosing to describe her character more vividly, beyond shallow similarities. As Lily shared her story, the audience was captivated by the genuine emotions and relatable experiences. Her tale resonated, touching the hearts of those who listened. The absence of unnecessary flourishes and celebrity references allowed Lily's narrative to stand on its own merit, fostering a deeper connection with her audience. After the event, attendees approached Lily to share their thoughts. They appreciated the authenticity of her storytelling and how it made them reflect on their own lives. Lily's decision to avoid shortcuts and celebrity comparisons paid off, leaving a lasting impression on her audience. As Lily continued her journey in mastering the art of storytelling, she carried with her the lessons learned about genuine connection and the power of relatable narratives. In every tale she told, Lily aimed to transport her audience to the heart of the story, creating moments that lingered in their minds long after the event had ended. Transform your life through the art of storytelling with Matthew Dicks Insights. Synopsis: elevate your storytelling. Everybody enjoys a good story, whether gathered around a campfire or seated at a boardroom table. A well-told tale has the power to stay with us indefinitely. But what makes a story engaging and memorable? Despite appearances, each one of us possesses the potential to weave captivating narratives from our life experiences. What's crucial is having the right tools and techniques to convey them effectively. Join us on a journey with best-selling novelist Matthew Dicks to learn how you can captivate your audience by recounting key moments from your career, upbringing, or everyday life. Uncover the ingredients that constitute the recipe for storytelling success and explore the simple do's and don'ts that can either make or break your audience's interest. Discover the nuts and bolts of storytelling, including how to start and finish your story, and what to include or omit for maximum audience impact. Great stories embrace change and cast you as the protagonist.
Before we delve further, remember that we regularly share new content. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel Business Book Summaries and hit the notification bell for the latest updates.
Dive into the world of storytelling with Matthew Dicks, where great stories revolve around change and feature the storyteller as the protagonist. Dicks shares his expertise, teaching people from all walks of life how to narrate stories about themselves and their experiences. From sales executives looking to captivate potential clients to grandfathers seeking to connect with their grandchildren, Dicks believes that storytelling can make everyone a better communicator. However, there are essential rules to follow to become an engaging storyteller. Your story shouldn't merely be a sequence of extraordinary events. It should reflect some form of change happening to someone or something over time. This change need not signify personal improvement but must be present in your story. Even seemingly insignificant changes make a difference. Consider the worst movies you've watched, even they depict character changes during the action. Stories lacking change are mere anecdotes, encompassing vacation tales, drinking stories, and other one-note narratives. While these anecdotes may recount extraordinary moments, they often fail to leave a lasting impact on who we are. Crafting engaging stories: connect, relate, transform. Unfortunately, if your story lacks an element of change, don't expect your audience to form a deeper connection with you or alter their opinions based on what you've shared. It's crucial to ensure that your stories cast you as the protagonist your audience wants to hear about your experiences rather than those of your best friend. Why? There's something uniquely vulnerable, gritty, and immediate about hearing a story from the person standing right in front of you. Sharing your own story requires courage, involving hard truths and authenticity, elements your audience will appreciate. This doesn't mean you can't tell another person's story, you just need to convey it from your perspective. For example, the author worked with an organization called Voices of Hope, teaching Holocaust survivors' children how to tell their parents' stories. They learned to structure their narratives, grounding them in their lives while drawing from the past. This approach made their stories engaging rather than sounding like mere historical lessons. Instead, their stories revolved around how their parents' experiences had shaped their own lives. Share your story naturally, without theatrics. Tell your story without any pre-prepared theatrical or poetic flourishes. Author Dix suggests a dinner test to evaluate your story. Ask yourself if it's the kind of story you'd share with a friend over dinner. If not, it might not be a compelling tale. When planning how to tell your story, remember that your performance for a broader audience shouldn't differ from how you'd share it with a friend. Avoid unnecessary theatrics, such as strange gestures or poetic embellishments, which can detract from the authenticity of your story. Consider how some storytellers, when on stage, incorporate odd gestures to emphasize their narrative. Ask yourself, would you make these gestures at the dinner table? Probably not. You're not putting on a one-person theater show, you're simply sharing your story. In addition to avoiding over-the-top gestures, steer clear of needless poetic flourishes that people often add when on stage or trying to capture their stories in writing. Keep it real, relatable, and engaging for your audience. Crafting compelling stories, authenticity is key. Once again, ask yourself, would you enjoy dinner with someone who described red roses as ravishing in their glimmering green garden? Maybe once, but probably not again. So remember, you're not writing poetry, you're telling a story. The same rule applies to starting your story with dialogue, especially unnecessary dialogue. Imagine beginning a dinner party story with, "Dad, don't go into my room," or a random noise like kapow. It would sound odd, and you might not get another dinner invitation. Yet, on stage and on the page, many storytellers think it's appropriate to kick off their narrative this way. Instead, introduce your story and its characters before diving into dialogue. These issues often arise because storytellers make a crucial mistake thinking their audience wants a performance rather than a genuine tale. However, audiences want to feel that your story is off the cuff and unpracticed, spoken from the heart. If you insert ready-made theatrical or poetical flourishes, this illusion shatters, and the connection between you and your audience fades. Every good story centers on a 5-second moment. At its core, every good story revolves around a 5-second moment. In the realm of storytelling, there's a surprising yet crucial truth you should know. Every good story, fundamentally, is about a brief, transformative moment in someone's life. The whole purpose of your story is to illuminate this instant with utmost clarity. What kind of moment are we talking about? Those instances in life when something changes permanently, meeting or falling out of love, a dramatic change of opinion, forgiveness, or falling into despair. These moments, often sudden, powerful, and small, form the basis of exceptional stories. Still skeptical? Consider a true story from the author's life that has moved many audiences. As a teenager, Dix was in a severe car crash where his upper body was thrown through the windshield, and his legs were smashed into the dashboard. The crash was so intense that he technically died and had to be resuscitated by paramedics on the side of the road. Is this near-death experience the 5-second moment that brings audiences to tears? Unveiling life's transformative moments, from loneliness to love. Interestingly, the most powerful moment in the author's story doesn't occur immediately. Shockingly, when the author faced a near-death experience, his parents didn't rush to the hospital. Instead, they checked on the car. Alone and scared, the author experienced his transformative 5 seconds. Suddenly, teenage friends appeared in the waiting room, shouting words of encouragement as he was wheeled into surgery. This moment, more powerful for audiences than the earlier near-death experience, is a transformative instance in the author's life to which everyone can relate. While most may never grasp the feeling of a near-fatal crash, loneliness, rejection, and the power of friendship are universal emotions. Audiences connect most with the author's story when people discuss it afterward. They rarely mention the car crash but remember the sudden change from feeling alone to feeling loved. Crafting a story arc, start at the end. Find the beginning of your story by examining how it ends. Once you identify the transformative 5-second moment, you've not only discovered the heart of your story but also its pinnacle and purpose. This crucial moment needs to come close to the end. Now, the real challenge begins. Having learned how to end your story, you must decide how to begin it. Finding the right starting point involves reflecting on your life experiences and selecting the most illuminating moments to commence your narrative. Choosing is difficult because many moments may seem significant. How do you make the right choice? Remind yourself how your story ends, what happens in your transformative moment. Then, consider the complete opposite of this moment of revelation, realization, or transformation. Your story's beginning should be the antithesis of its end. This opposition is crucial as it constructs a satisfying arc within your narrative, demonstrating change over time. For example, think of a romantic comedy where the opening scenes depict a young woman getting fired from her job in a bank and her banker boyfriend running off with her female best friend. Surely, we already have an idea of how this film will end. Crafting compelling narratives, bringing stories to life. Almost inevitably, our dejected heroine will find a new lover, the very opposite of a banker, perhaps an artist. She may discover a new job in a vastly different environment, like opening a bakery. Finally, she'll form a new best friend, one very different from the betrayer, such as an open-hearted gay man. In essence, to predict how a movie will end, consider the opposite of its first quarter hour for a likely accurate answer. Your story should follow a similar principle. Immersive storytelling, do's and don'ts. There are crucial do's and don'ts for immersing your audience in a story. Telling a good story means taking your audience on a journey with you to the moments in time when your story unfolds. You want them to feel like they're right there with you, experiencing the sights, sounds, and sensations as you did. To make this task less daunting, follow some important do's and don'ts for providing an immersive experience. Do use the present tense. Instead of starting with "I was on a train last year," begin with something like "I am on a train, and my whole body is shuddering from its forward momentum." The present tense creates immediacy, transporting the audience onto that train in real time, bringing them closer to the key moments. Now that you know what you should do, what are the things to avoid? Crucially, don't ask your audience rhetorical questions. Doing so invites them to mentally come up with an answer, transforming your storytelling into a question and answer exercise. This breaks the immersive experience, reminding the audience they're not on the train but in the room with you, pondering that rhetorical question. Another no-no is addressing the audience directly. When you say, "Okay, folks, have I got a story for you?" the immersive experience ends. The listeners suddenly become aware of the storyteller standing before them, being addressed, and the presence of other audience members. Navigating storytelling etiquette, telling tales with tact. On either side of them, so don't talk to your audience, and certainly don't ask them any questions. Instead, just tell them your story, preferably in the present tense. Elevate your storytelling career, mind your language. Help your storytelling career by steering clear of swearing and vulgarity. When the author crafts stories for his blog, he chooses his words carefully to preserve his reputation within the storytelling community. You won't find any swearing, profanity, or criticism of his employer or colleagues in his narratives. If you aspire to be a successful storyteller, be mindful of what you say to your audience and how you say it. Whether you're at a wedding or in a theater, the words you choose will impact your audience's opinion of you. Avoid excessive swearing to give your stories mass appeal. For instance, the author found a vast audience for his stories, invited to share them on the popular podcast and radio show, The Moth. The lack of profanity made his stories suitable for a diverse audience. If you decide to use swearing, be aware that it might limit your invitations to speak at corporate, family, or school events. Think twice before dropping the F-bomb, it could impact your career potential. Not only should you avoid swearing, but also vulgarity. Describing profane events, whether sexual or involving bodily fluids, may not create the mental image you intend. One of the author's friends shared an unfortunate first date situation in graphic detail, only to score low in a story slam. When selecting words, ensure authenticity doesn't come off as profane to your audience. Remember, a little restraint goes a long way in boosting your storytelling career. In essence, these insights emphasize the importance of tact and careful language choice in the world of storytelling. Final insights: mastering the art of storytelling. Achieving storytelling mastery involves learning the right techniques. To tell a compelling story, ensure there's a meaningful element of change in the narrative. Avoid vulgarity and unnecessary flourishes, and transport your audience by employing the present tense. Here's an additional tip for your storytelling journey: steer clear of celebrity references in your stories. The author once likened his ex-girlfriend to actress Zooey Deschanel, resulting in a divided audience half nodding along, half looking confused. Since then, he avoids such references, and you should too. Celebrity mentions risk alienating those unfamiliar with the person you're talking about, and it's a bit lazy. Instead of providing a detailed description of your character, you rely on shorthand, revealing little about them. Ask yourself, what is this character truly like beyond shallow celebrity similarities?
We're keen to hear your thoughts on our content. Feel free to share your opinions or recommend books in the comments section. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel Business Book Summaries and hit the notification bell to stay updated with our latest summaries. Thank you and have a wonderful day.